Kim Tae-ho pressed his face against the cold metal window of his small ship. Stars filled the dark space around him like tiny diamonds scattered on black cloth. He had been flying alone for 3 days now, moving slowly through the Vega Nebula. His ship was quiet, almost dead silent except for the soft hum of the air system. Tae-ho was a scout pilot for the human colony of New Busan. His job was simple but dangerous. He flew into empty space to look for threats or new places where humans could live. Today felt different, though. His sensors were picking up something big ahead. What is that? He whispered to himself, staring at the green dots on his screen. The dots were moving in patterns. They were too organized to be rocks or space dust. Tae-ho knew what he was looking at. Ships, lots of them. But these were not human ships. He had heard stories from the older pilots. Stories about other beings living among the stars. The government kept these stories secret from most people. They said aliens were real, but humans had to stay hidden from them. Tae-ho never believed the stories until now. A massive shape appeared in front of his ship. It was longer than 10 city blocks and covered in bright lights. The metal hull was smooth and curved in ways that human ships never were. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. Behind it, dozens of smaller ships moved like fish swimming in a school. Tae-ho's heart started beating fast. He reached for his radio to call home, then stopped. His training kicked in. Never break radio silence when near unknown contacts. He had to watch and learn. The alien ships were doing some kind of practice fight. The big ship fired beams of red light at targets floating in space. The smaller ships flew around it in complex patterns, dodging and weaving like they were dancing. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Hours passed. Tae-ho watched the aliens practice their war games. He wrote down everything he saw in his logbook. How many ships, what weapons they used, how fast they moved. This information could save human lives someday. On the big alien ship, a creature named Velthara stood in front of a wall covered in glowing screens. Velthara looked like she was made of living crystal. Her body caught light and threw it back in rainbow colors. She was the commander of this training exercise. All ships report status, Velthara said in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. Sector 7 clear, came a deep voice from one of the smaller ships. Sector 12 clear, said another. Sector 15, wait, the voice stopped. I'm getting strange readings here. Velthara's crystal body flashed brighter. Explain. Gravity shows something is there, but I can't see anything. Like a ghost shadow. Velthara walked to a different screen. Numbers and charts filled it with information she didn't understand. Run a full sensor sweep of that area. The alien sensors were the best in the galaxy. They could find a coin floating in space from 1,000 miles away. They could detect heat, metal, energy, even thoughts from some species. But when they looked at Tae-ho's ship, they found nothing. Tae-ho watched the alien ships move closer to him. Red beams of light passed near his ship as they scanned the area. He held his breath, waiting for alarms to sound, waiting for them to find him. But nothing happened. The aliens couldn't see him. After 6 hours, the alien fleet gave up searching. They formed back into their practice groups and continued their war games. Tae-ho stayed and watched for 2 more days. He saw things that amazed him. Ships that could bend space around them to move faster than light. Weapons that could destroy asteroids with a single shot. Barriers of energy that stopped everything. But they still couldn't see his little human ship. On the alien command ship, a big creature called Groxmal stomped around the control room. Groxmal was 8 feet tall and covered in thick gray skin. His species were warriors who had fought in many space battles. I don't like these ghost readings, Groxmal growled. His voice was like rocks falling down a mountain. Something is watching us. Velthara's crystal body dimmed. Our sensors show nothing alive in this area. Then explain the gravity changes. Explain the energy shadows. Space is full of strange things, Commander. Dark matter, quantum storms, time distortions. We cannot fight shadows, but Groxmal was not satisfied. His warrior instincts told him they were being watched. He was right, but he would never know it. On the 3rd day, Tae-ho finally turned his ship around and headed home. His small engine pushed him away from the alien fleet. Behind him, the war games continued. Red beams of light danced between the ships like deadly fireworks. The trip back to New Busan took 12 hours. Tae-ho spent the time thinking about what he had seen. The aliens were powerful. Their ships were fast and their weapons were deadly. But they couldn't see humans. Why? New Busan was built inside a large asteroid that humans had hollowed out. From the outside, it looked like just another space rock. Inside, 50,000 people lived and worked in a hidden city. Gardens grew under artificial sunlight. Children played in parks carved from stone. It was home. Taiho docked his ship and walked through the busy streets of New Busan. People smiled and waved at him. They had no idea what he had just discovered. They didn't know that aliens were real and practicing for war just a few days away from their home. He found Park So-min in her laboratory. So-min was the smartest person Taiho knew. She studied alien life even though most people thought aliens didn't exist. Her lab was full of computers and strange devices that could analyze anything. So-min, you need to see this, Taiho said, handing her his data recorder. So-min was a small woman with kind eyes and quick hands. She took the recorder and plugged it into her computer. Data filled the screen. Ship movements, energy readings, weapon signatures. Her eyes grew wide as she studied the information. Taiho, where did you get this data? I watched them for 3 days. A whole alien fleet. They were right there, but they couldn't see me. So-min stared at the screen for a long time. Her computer ran analysis after analysis on the data. Each test confirmed what Taiho was saying. The aliens had sensors that were 100 times better than human technology. But somehow they had missed a human ship floating right next to them. This changes everything, So-min whispered. If they can't see us, then we've been living next to them without knowing it. The whole galaxy could be full of aliens, and we're invisible to them. She looked at Taiho with wonder and fear in her eyes. We're like ghosts to them, like phantoms floating through space. Neither of them knew that at that very moment, alien scientists were studying the ghost matter readings from their training exercise. They were trying to understand what they had detected. They would never guess that they had found humanity's greatest secret. Humans were invisible to the galaxy, and the galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place. 2 weeks had passed since Taiho's discovery. Park So-min worked day and night in her lab, studying the alien data. She barely slept or ate. The information was too important to ignore. Her computer screens showed alien ship designs, weapon patterns, and communication signals. Everything pointed to the same shocking truth. The aliens had technology that was far ahead of humans, but they couldn't detect human ships. The answer has to be here somewhere, So-min muttered, drinking her 10th cup of coffee that day. Meanwhile, Lee Dongwoo sat in a different part of New Busan. His job was to listen to space radio signals and decode alien languages. For years, people thought he was wasting his time. Now everyone wanted to talk to him. Dongwoo's room was full of radio equipment and computers. Green lights blinked as his machines picked up alien messages from across space. Most of the signals were too weak or too scrambled to understand, but some were clear enough to translate. His computer had learned to recognize patterns in alien speech. It could now translate simple messages from 12 different alien languages. What Dongwoo was learning scared him. The aliens called their group the Galactic Federation. They had been talking to each other for hundreds of years. They shared technology, traded goods, and worked together to keep peace in space. They thought they knew about every smart species in the galaxy. They were very wrong. Listen to this, Dongwoo said, playing a recorded message for Captain Choi Yoo-jin. Yoo-jin was the leader of human military forces in this part of space. She commanded 6 ships that could fight if needed. Her ship, the Phantom Strike, was the most advanced human vessel ever built. It was still invisible to alien sensors. The alien message played through the speakers. Even translated into human language, it sounded strange. Federation Science Council alert. Phantom matter detected in sectors 15 through 23. Request immediate investigation. These readings match similar events from the past 50 years. Possible new form of dark matter discovered. Yoo-jin frowned. Phantom matter? That's what they call us, Dongwoo explained. They know something is there, but they can't see what it is. Their sensors detect our ship's gravity and energy, but they can't see the ships themselves. 50 years? Yoo-jin asked. They've been detecting us for 50 years? It seems like it. But they think we're some kind of space phenomenon, like a new type of matter that science hasn't discovered yet. On the other side of the galaxy, alien scientists were gathering for an emergency meeting. The Federation's best minds were coming together to solve the phantom matter mystery. Rixandra arrived at the meeting in her small, silver ship. She was a Mindari, a species that could read thoughts and emotions. Her people were often asked to investigate strange events because they could sense things others missed. Rixandra looked almost human. Except for her purple skin, and the small tentacles that grew from her head instead of hair. The tentacles moved constantly, picking up mental energy from everything around her. At the space station where the meeting was held, she joined other Federation scientists. There was Thorak, a being that was part machine and part living tissue. His cybernetic brain could process information faster than any biological mind. Next to him stood Dr. Zephyros, a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms, representing the Aquatic Alliance. The head of the Science Council was an ancient being called Elder Proxima. Nobody knew exactly what species Proxima belonged to. He was old when the Federation was young, and his wisdom was respected by all. "Fellow scientists," Elder Proxima began, his voice echoing through the meeting hall, "we face a mystery that challenges everything we know about the universe." The giant screen behind him showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked places where phantom matter had been detected over the past 50 years. There were hundreds of dots scattered across space. These readings appear near inhabited systems, trade routes, and military exercises. The pattern suggests intelligence, but our sensors detect no ships, no life signs, no technology. Thorak's mechanical voice spoke up. "Could this be a new species using stealth technology beyond our understanding?" "Impossible," said Dr. Zephyros, waving his 4 arms. "No known technology can hide from quantum sensors. Our detection methods can find anything made of normal matter." But Rixandra felt something different. During her investigations of phantom matter sites, she had sensed brief flashes of emotion. Fear, curiosity, wonder. These feelings came from empty space where nothing should exist. "I believe something is watching us," she said quietly. The room fell silent. The idea that an invisible species had been observing the Federation for 50 years was terrifying. Back on New Busan, So Min finally made her breakthrough. She had been studying the difference between human technology and alien sensors. The answer was simpler than anyone expected. "It's our biology," she told Taeho and Dongwoo as they gathered in her lab. "Human brains generate bioelectric fields that interfere with quantum-based sensors." She showed them a chart on her computer screen. All Federation species use quantum mechanics for their sensors and computers. These systems work by measuring tiny changes in space and time, but human bioelectricity creates noise that confuses their measurements. "You mean our thoughts make us invisible?" Taeho asked. "Not just thoughts, our entire nervous system. Every human brain acts like a natural jamming device against their technology." This discovery explained everything. Human ships were invisible because humans were inside them. The bioelectric fields from human brains spread through the metal hull, creating a sensor shadow around the entire ship. It also explained why humans could see aliens perfectly fine. Human sensors used electromagnetic radiation like radio waves and light. These worked normally around alien ships. "We've been hiding in plain sight," Dongwoo said with amazement. "They've been looking for us with the wrong kind of eyes." 3 days later, Captain Yu-jin decided to test their new knowledge. She took her ship close to an alien trade convoy to see how close humans could get without being detected. The alien convoy had 12 cargo ships protected by 4 military vessels. They were carrying rare metals from mining planets to industrial worlds. It should have been a routine trade mission. Yu-jin's ship, the Phantom Strike, moved silently between the alien vessels. She was so close that she could see aliens walking around inside their ships through the windows. The aliens went about their normal duties, completely unaware that a human warship was floating just a few hundred meters away. "This is incredible," whispered her navigator, Han Jun-soo. "We could be anywhere in their territory and they would never know." But Yu-jin was thinking about bigger things. If humans were invisible to aliens, then humans had a responsibility. They could watch and learn from alien civilizations. They could protect human colonies from alien threats. They could even help aliens if they needed it, all without revealing themselves. The power of invisibility was great, but it came with great responsibility. On the alien trade convoy, a young Centauri officer named Klix was running routine sensor sweeps when something strange happened. For just a moment, his gravitational sensors detected a large mass nearby, but when he looked more carefully, nothing was there. "Phantom matter again," he muttered, making a note in his log. It was the 3rd time this month that trade convoys had reported these strange readings. Klix didn't know that he had just detected the Phantom Strike. He didn't know that human eyes were watching his every move. He certainly didn't know that humanity was about to change the galaxy forever. As Yu-jin's ship moved away from the convoy, She made a decision that would affect the future of both species. It was time for humanity to stop hiding in the shadows. The galaxy was much bigger and more populated than humans had ever imagined. Soon, very soon, aliens would learn that the phantoms they had been detecting were not mysterious space matter. They were neighbors who had been watching and learning for 50 years. The question was, how would the galaxy react when the ghosts finally revealed themselves? The emergency meeting at New Busan lasted for 3 days. Leaders from all human colonies came together to make the most important decision in human history. Should they reveal themselves to the aliens or stay hidden forever? Ambassador Jang Minho stood at the front of the meeting room. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent his whole life preparing for this moment, even though he never thought it would really happen. "We have learned that we share this galaxy with 12 alien species," Minho said to the assembled leaders. "They have been our unknowing neighbors for centuries. The question now is, what do we do about it?" Captain Yu Jin spoke first. "Their military technology is far ahead of ours. If they see us as a threat, we could lose everything." "But they can't even see us," argued Dr. So-min. "We have the ultimate advantage. We can learn from them, trade with them, maybe even help them." Han Ji-woo raised her hand. She was the colony's expert on how different species might think and act. "I've been studying their communications for weeks. Most of these alien species seem peaceful. They work together, share resources, and avoid war. But they might panic if they discover we've been watching them secretly." The debate went on for hours. Some leaders wanted to stay hidden forever. Others thought humanity should reveal itself immediately. A few suggested making contact with just one alien species at first, to test their reaction. While humans argued about first contact, the aliens were making their own discoveries. On the Federation Science Station, young Cylon worked day and night on a new sensor design. Cylon was an Etherian like Commander Velthera, but much younger. His crystal body was clear blue instead of rainbow-colored. Blue meant he was still learning and growing. He would not earn his rainbow colors until he made an important discovery for his people. "The phantom matter readings always happen near inhabited systems," Cylon muttered to himself, studying data from hundreds of encounters. What if they're not random space phenomena? What if they're ships? His new sensor design used different principles than normal Federation technology. Instead of quantum mechanics, it measured electromagnetic fields and radio waves. It was primitive compared to standard sensors, but it might detect things that quantum sensors missed. Cylon's supervisor, Dr. Vextar, thought the young scientist was wasting time. "Electromagnetic sensors are thousands of years old," Vextar said. "We stopped using them because quantum sensors are far more advanced." "But what if advanced isn't always better?" Cylon asked. "What if there are things that quantum sensors can't see?" Dr. Vextar laughed, making a sound like crystal bells ringing. "Impossible. Quantum sensors can detect anything made of normal matter." Cylon continued working on his project in secret. He didn't know that he was one breakthrough away from discovering humanity. On New Busan, the leadership debate was interrupted by urgent news. Captain Yu Jin's scouts had detected a massive alien ship in distress near the human world of New Seoul. The ship was a Federation colony transport carrying 40,000 aliens to a new world. Something had gone wrong with their engines while traveling through hyperspace. Now they were stuck in normal space, slowly drifting toward New Seoul's sun. "Their engines are dead," reported scout pilot Kim Woo-bin over the radio. "They're sending distress signals, but the nearest Federation rescue ship is 6 days away. They only have 4 days of life support left." The human leaders faced an impossible choice. They could save 40,000 alien lives, but only by revealing themselves. Once the aliens saw a human ship, the secret would be out forever. Minister Park Hee-rim spoke for the isolationist faction. "We cannot risk exposing all of humanity to save aliens we don't even know." "They're not just aliens," Ambassador Minho replied. "They're people. Mothers, fathers, children. We have the power to save them." Captain Yu Jin stood up. "I volunteer to lead the rescue mission. If we're going to reveal ourselves, we should do it by saving lives, not by fighting." The vote was close, but humanity chose compassion over secrecy. Yu Jin prepared her ship for the most important mission in human history. On the dying alien ship, panic was spreading. The vessel was called the New Dawn, and it carried families from 6 different species. They were all moving to a new colony world where their children could grow up together in peace. Commander Karavesh, An elderly Xanthari with green skin and 4 eyes tried to keep everyone calm. The Xanthari were natural leaders and diplomats. His people were known for being wise and patient. All families to emergency stations, Karvesh announced over the ship's communication system. Remain calm. Help is coming. But Karvesh knew the truth. Federation rescue ships were too far away. The new dawn would fall into the sun long before help arrived. Unless a miracle happened, 40,000 people were going to die. The miracle came from an impossible direction. Yujin's ship, the Phantom Strike, approached the new dawn slowly. Her crew was nervous. They were about to become the first humans that aliens had ever seen. Remember, Yujin told her crew, we're not making contact with their government or military. We're saving civilian families. Keep it simple and peaceful. On the New Dawn's bridge, young sensor operator Zilnara was monitoring space around their ship when something impossible appeared on her screen. A vessel was approaching them, but it hadn't been there a second before. Commander Karvesh, Zilnara called out, unknown ship approaching. It just appeared out of nowhere. Karvesh looked at the sensor display. The ship was unlike anything in Federation databases. It was smaller than Federation vessels, but seemed to be built for speed and stealth. Strange symbols marked its hull. Open a communication channel, Karvesh ordered. Yujin's face appeared on the alien ship's main screen. The crew of the New Dawn stared in amazement. They had never seen anything like her species before. She looked almost like a Xanthari, but with only 2 eyes and no green skin. This is Captain Choi Yujin of the human vessel Phantom Strike, Yujin said slowly, hoping the Federation's translation computers would understand her. We have detected your distress signal. We are here to help, human? Commander Karvesh repeated the word. It didn't appear in any Federation database. I have never heard of your species, Captain, but we welcome your assistance. For the next 6 hours, human and alien crews worked together to save the New Dawn. Yujin's engineers used their different technology to restart the alien ship's engines. Human medical teams helped treat injured aliens. Human pilots guided the massive colony ship away from the dangerous sun. During the rescue, both sides learned about each other. The aliens were amazed by human resourcefulness and bravery. The humans were impressed by alien cooperation and gratitude. When the crisis was over, Commander Karvesh invited Captain Yujin aboard his ship. Walking through the New Dawn's corridors, Yujin saw something wonderful. Alien families from different species living together, working together, raising their children together. Your Federation, Yujin said to Karvesh, it brings different species together in peace? For over 800 years, Karvesh replied proudly. We believe that diversity makes us stronger. All species have something valuable to contribute. Yujin smiled. Maybe revealing humanity wouldn't be as dangerous as they feared. But as the Phantom Strike prepared to leave, Karvesh asked the question that would change everything. Captain Yujin, how did your ship approach us without being detected? Our sensors show nothing, then suddenly you were there. Yujin looked at the alien commander for a long moment. How could she explain that humans had been invisible neighbors for 50 years? How could she tell him that every Federation system might have human ships nearby, watching and learning? Commander, Yujin said carefully, there are things about my people that will surprise you. We would like to meet with your leaders to explain everything. Karvesh's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among his people. I believe that would be wise, Captain. The galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place. Neither of them knew that young Cylon had detected their rescue mission with his new electromagnetic sensors. He was staring at his computer screen in shock, looking at clear images of the human ship. The phantom matter wasn't matter at all. It was a completely unknown species with incredible stealth technology. The secret was out and there was no going back. News of the human rescue spread through Federation space faster than anyone expected. Within hours, every alien government knew that the phantom matter readings were actually ships from an unknown species. On the Federation capital world of Nexus Prime, emergency meetings were called in every government building. The discovery of humanity was the biggest event in galactic history. In the Krillian military headquarters, General Velmoran paced around a holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots marked every location where phantom matter had been detected over the past 50 years. There were thousands of them. They've been everywhere, Velmoran growled to his staff. Every military base, every trade route, every colony world. These humans have been spying on us for decades. Velmoran was a massive creature, even by Krillian standards. His thick gray skin was covered in battle scars, and his small red eyes burned with anger. He had fought in 12 different wars and never lost a battle. "Sir, the rescued ship reports that the humans were peaceful and helpful," said his aide, a younger Krillian named Bractor. "Of course they were helpful." Velmoran slammed his fist on the table, making the hologram flicker. "They've been caught. Now they want us to think they're friendly, but you don't develop stealth technology that advanced unless you're planning for war." On the other side of the galaxy, the response was very different. The Zenthari Council was meeting to discuss how to welcome humanity into the galactic community. Elder Mirandar, the oldest and wisest Zenthari, spoke to the assembled council. "The humans saved 40,000 lives when they could have remained hidden. This shows honor and compassion. We should treat them as potential friends, not enemies." The Zenthari were natural diplomats. Their green skin could change color to show their emotions, and right now Elder Mirandar was glowing with warm gold light, indicating hope and joy. Meanwhile, in the vast computer networks of the Nexus Empire, artificial intelligence Nexar Prime was analyzing every piece of data about the humans. The Nexus Empire was made up of beings who had combined their minds with machines. They thought differently than biological species. Human stealth technology operates on electromagnetic principles rather than quantum mechanics, Nexar Prime announced to its council. This represents a completely different approach to physics. The potential for technological exchange is enormous. But the most significant reaction came from young Cylon. His electromagnetic sensors had recorded clear images of the human ship during the rescue. He was the first alien to actually see what humans looked like. Cylon's discovery made him famous overnight. Federation scientists who had ignored him for years now wanted to study his sensor designs. His crystal body had changed from blue to rainbow colors, marking him as a full adult among his people. On New Busan, Ambassador Minho prepared for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. He would lead a small fleet to meet with Federation representatives at the neutral space station called Haven Point. "Remember," Minho told his team, "we're not just representing our colonies. We're representing all of humanity. Every word we say will be studied by 12 different alien species." His team included Dr. So-min as a science advisor, Captain Yu Jin for military matters, and a new addition, Yu Hye-jin. She was an expert in alien cultures who had spent years studying intercepted Federation communications. "The Federation species fall into 3 groups," Hye-jin explained during their planning meeting. "The peaceful diplomats like the Zenthari, the military hardliners like the Krillians, and the logic-focused species like the Nexus Empire. We need to appeal to all 3 groups. The human fleet consisted of 5 ships, all equipped with new technology that allowed them to be seen by alien sensors when they chose to be visible. Dr. So-min called them visibility modulators. As the human ships approached Haven Point, they could see Federation vessels from every major species. Sleek Etherian crystal ships hung next to blocky Krillian warships. The organic-looking vessels of the Aquatic Alliance floated beside the geometric perfection of Nexus Empire craft. It was the largest gathering of alien ships that humans had ever seen. Commander Velthara met the human delegation at the docking bay. Her rainbow crystal body flickered with nervous energy as she studied the strange new species. "Welcome to Haven Point, Ambassador Minho," she said, her voice like musical chimes. "The Federation Council is eager to meet your people." Minho bowed respectfully, a gesture that surprised many of the aliens. "Thank you, Commander. We come in peace and friendship." The main meeting hall was enormous, designed to accommodate the different needs of 12 species. Some aliens breathed different gases, some needed different gravity levels, and some communicated through methods other than speech. General Velmoran attended the meeting via hologram from his warship. He refused to come aboard a station where he couldn't control security. His image glowered at the human delegation from a large screen. "Humans," Velmoran said, making the word sound like a curse. "You have been spying on Federation worlds for 50 years. You have violated our sovereignty and our privacy. Why should we not consider this an act of war?" The meeting hall fell silent. Every alien representative waited to see how the humans would respond to this accusation. Ambassador Minho stood up slowly. He had prepared for this question. but hearing it spoken aloud was still intimidating. General Velmoran, you are correct that we have observed your people for many years, but we were not spying. We were trying to survive. Minho activated a holographic display that showed the history of human space exploration. When we first left our homeworld, we were alone and afraid. We found evidence of other intelligent species, but we didn't know if they were peaceful or hostile. Our stealth technology was developed for defense, not for spying. The display showed human colonies, small and hidden, scattered across empty space. It showed the careful paths human scouts took to avoid alien territory. We stayed hidden because we were weak, Minho continued. We had no allies, no protection, no knowledge of galactic politics. If we had revealed ourselves 50 years ago, would you have welcomed us? Or would you have seen us as a threat to be eliminated? Elder Mirandar's green skin shifted to a thoughtful blue color. The ambassador raises a valid point. 50 years ago, the Federation was less accepting of newcomers. We might have reacted with fear rather than friendship. Nexar Prime's mechanical voice added, analysis confirms that human colonies were established in empty space, avoiding Federation territory. Their behavior patterns suggest caution rather than aggression. But General Velmoran was not convinced. Peaceful species don't develop technology that can make entire fleets invisible. Your abilities represent a clear military advantage. How do we know you're not planning to use it against us? Captain Yujin stood up to answer this question. General, our stealth technology saved 40,000 Federation citizens 3 days ago. We revealed ourselves not to threaten you, but to help you. That should tell you everything about our intentions. The alien representatives murmured among themselves in a dozen different languages. Some seemed convinced by the human arguments. Others remained suspicious. But the real shock came when Dr. Somin activated another holographic display. This one showed the results of human deep space surveys. During our years of observation, we discovered something that will interest you, Somin said. Your Federation believes it has contacted every intelligent species in this galaxy sector. You are wrong. The display showed 17 different star systems where human scouts had detected signs of intelligent life, species that use technology so different from Federation norms that quantum sensors couldn't detect them. We found them because our electromagnetic sensors work differently than yours, Somin explained. There are many forms of intelligence in this galaxy that your quantum-based technology cannot perceive. The meeting hall erupted in excited chatter. The discovery of 17 new species was almost as shocking as the revelation about humans. Ceylon's rainbow crystal body flashed with excitement. This proves my theory. Different sensor technologies can detect different forms of matter and energy. The humans aren't just another species. They're the key to discovering how much larger the galactic community really is. But General Velmoran saw a different implication. If there are 17 unknown species, how many of them have been watching us without our knowledge? How many invisible fleets are out there right now? Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout Haven Point. The station's sensors had detected a massive energy disturbance approaching from outside the galaxy. Something big was coming, and the Federation's most advanced sensors could barely detect it. But on the human ships, electromagnetic sensors were painting a clear picture of approaching danger. Ambassador, Captain Yujin said urgently, our sensors show a fleet of unknown ships approaching this system. They're using technology we've never seen before. The Federation representatives looked at their own sensor displays, which showed only faint energy shadows and distorted space-time readings. We can barely detect them, Commander Velthara said with worry in her crystal voice. Yujin smiled grimly. Then it's a good thing we're here. Our sensors can see them clearly, and based on their approach vector and energy signatures, they're not coming to talk. The unknown fleet appeared on the edge of the Haven Point system like a dark storm cloud against the stars. Federation sensors could barely detect them, showing only fuzzy shadows and twisted energy readings, but human electromagnetic sensors painted a clear and terrifying picture. 200 ships, Captain Yujin reported to the mixed human-alien command center they had quickly established. Each one is larger than your biggest battleships. They're using some kind of space-bending technology that makes them nearly invisible to quantum sensors. Admiral Ko Jin-woo had arrived from New Busan with the main human fleet. He was an old soldier with gray hair and calm eyes who had spent his life preparing for this moment, even though he never expected it to happen. These are not Federation ships, Ko Jin-woo said, studying the sensor data. The energy signatures are completely unknown. This technology doesn't match any of the 17 species we've discovered. General Velmoran's hologram flickered with anger and frustration. How is it possible that humans can see these invaders when our sensors cannot? Dr. Shin Hae-won, humanity's top scientist, had been working around the clock since the crisis began. She stood before a mixed group of human and alien scientists, explaining what they had learned. The invading ships exist partially outside normal spacetime, Hae-won said, pointing to complex diagrams on her display. They use a form of technology that bends space around them like a bubble. Quantum sensors try to measure spacetime directly, so the bent space confuses them. But electromagnetic sensors measure light and radio waves, added Ceylon, who had become the Federation's expert on human detection methods. These waves can penetrate the spacetime bubbles and show us what's really there. The alien representative stared at the human scientist with new respect. Humanity's primitive technology was turning out to be more advanced than anyone realized. Who are they? Asked Elder Mirandar, his green skin shifting to worried purple colors. We call them the Void Devourers, Ko Jin-woo replied grimly. Our deep space scouts have been tracking them for 3 years. They come from outside our galaxy, moving from star system to star system. They consume everything, planets, stars, entire civilizations. Commander Velthara's crystal body dimmed with fear. How many civilizations have they destroyed? At least 40 that we know of, Dr. Hae-won answered. They move through space like a plague, leaving nothing behind but empty darkness. The truth was even more shocking than the aliens realized. Humanity had been the galaxy's unknowing guardians for years. While Federation species celebrated peace and prosperity, human scouts had been watching the dark spaces between stars, tracking threats that quantum sensors couldn't detect. Why didn't you warn us before? General Velmoran demanded. Ambassador Minho's voice was quiet but firm. Would you have believed us? 3 days ago you didn't even know we existed. If we had tried to contact you about invisible threats from outside the galaxy, what would you have thought? The alien leaders fell silent. Minho was right. The Federation would have dismissed such warnings as the fantasies of an unknown species trying to gain attention. On the approaching Void Devourer ships, beings of living darkness prepared for their next harvest. They had consumed countless galaxies, growing stronger with each world they devoured. This galaxy looked rich and full of life, perfect for feeding their endless hunger. The Devourers had destroyed every civilization they encountered because no one had ever been able to see them coming. Their space-time manipulation technology made them invisible to every form of sensor they had ever faced. They had never encountered anything like human electromagnetic detection, enemy. Fleet will enter weapons range in 4 hours, reported Captain Yu-jin from her battle station aboard the Phantom Strike. All Federation ships should move to defensive positions. But General Velmoran had a different plan. Federation fleet, prepare for attack. We will meet these invaders head-on. General, that's not wise, Admiral Ko Jin-woo warned. The Devourers are expecting a direct assault. Their weapons are designed to fight enemies they can see coming. Then what do you suggest, human? Ko Jin-woo smiled. And for the first time since the crisis began, it was not a worried smile. We suggest you let the Phantoms do what Phantoms do best. Let us be invisible. The battle plan that emerged was unlike anything in galactic military history. Federation ships would engage the Void Devourers in direct combat, drawing their attention and firepower. Meanwhile, human Phantom ships would use their stealth technology to attack from unexpected directions. It was a plan that required perfect trust between species, who had known each other for only 3 days. As the Void Devourer fleet entered the Haven Point system, their dark ships began absorbing light from nearby stars. Space around them grew cold and black as they prepared to consume another civilization. The Federation fleet moved to meet them, crystal Etherian ships that sparkled like jewels, massive Krillian battleships bristling with weapons, and the sleek vessels of 8 other species, all fighting together for the survival of their galaxy. The first exchange of weapons fire lit up space like fireworks. Federation energy beams struck Void Devourer shields in explosions of brilliant color. The Devourers responded with beams of pure darkness that seemed to eat light itself. Hidden among the chaos, human Phantom ships moved like ghosts through the battle. The Devourers couldn't see them coming. Captain Yu-jin's Phantom Strike appeared behind a massive Devourer ship, seemingly materializing out of empty space. Her weapons, based on electromagnetic pulse technology, punched through the alien shields like they were made of paper. Target destroyed, Yujin reported calmly, as the Devourer ship broke apart in silent explosions. All across the battlefield, phantom ships struck at the invaders. They would appear, attack, and vanish again before the Devourers could respond. It was like fighting an enemy made of shadows and lightning, but the real surprise came when Dr. Haywan activated humanity's greatest secret weapon, Phantom, Communication Array Online, she announced, from the human command ship, linking all Federation vessels to our sensor network. Suddenly, Federation ships could see the Void Devourers as clearly as humans could. Cylon's modified electromagnetic sensors, combined with human technology, gave every ship in the Allied fleet perfect vision of their enemies. Impossible, breathed Commander Velthera, as her tactical display filled with clear images of Devourer ships. We can see them. We can actually see them. The tide of battle turned in an instant. Federation weapons guided by human sensors found their targets with deadly accuracy. Devourer ships that had seemed invincible were suddenly vulnerable to attack from enemies they couldn't hide from. But the biggest shock was yet to come. As the battle raged, human deep space sensors detected something amazing. The 17 unknown species that humans had discovered were approaching the battle zone. They had been watching the galaxy for centuries, just like humans, staying hidden from Federation quantum sensors. The Echo Singers arrived first, beings that existed partially outside of normal time, their ships shimmering like mirages. Behind them came the Crystal Mines, living computers made of sentient stone. The Dreamweavers followed, creatures that could manipulate reality through focused thought. One by one, 17 civilizations that the Federation never knew existed joined the battle against the Void Devourers. Each species brought unique weapons and abilities that the invaders had never encountered. The Echo Singers could attack ships in the past, striking them before they even arrived at the battle. The Crystal Mines computed attack patterns faster than any organic brain could follow. The Dreamweavers created illusions that confused and misdirected enemy fire. Together, the combined forces of 30 different species drove the Void Devourers back to the edge of the galaxy. The dark ships that had consumed countless civilizations fled into the emptiness between galaxies, defeated for the first time in their existence. In the aftermath of the battle, representatives from all 30 species gathered at Haven Point for the most important meeting in galactic history. The galaxy is far more populated than any of us realized, Elder Myrandar said, his skin glowing with rainbow colors of joy and wonder. Humans were not the only species watching from the shadows. Ambassador Minho looked around the vast meeting hall, now filled with beings of every shape and size imaginable. Crystal entities sat next to energy beings. Creatures made of living metal conversed with beings of pure thought. We all developed different technologies, different ways of seeing the universe, Minho said. The Federation used quantum mechanics. Humans used electromagnetic radiation. The Echo Singers used temporal manipulation. The Crystal Mines used quantum computing. Each approach revealed different aspects of reality. Nexar Prime's mechanical voice expressed what everyone was thinking. Combined together, our technologies create a complete picture of the universe. Separately, we each saw only part of the truth. General Velmoran, his anger replaced by amazement, asked the question that would shape the galaxy's future. What do we do now? How do we organize 30 different civilizations? The answer came from an unexpected source. Kojin Wu, the human admiral who had spent his life preparing for threats no one else could see, stepped forward. We form the Phantom Alliance.